We've been following this story since it started 12 hours ago.
Now, right now, there are 3 people in custody. 1 is being called a suspect, the other 2 persons of interest. Everything unfolded last night at North LaVenture Road and East First Street. The Mount Vernon police officer was responding to the call just after 5:30 last night when the suspect began shooting from a house, hitting the officer. The victim from the initial call was grazed by a bullet. Neighbors say they came out of their homes after hearing these gunshots.
We heard them, about 2 hours ago or so? Heard about 20 to 25 gunshots at first. A few minutes later, about 3 or 4. And then some minutes later after that, we heard a couple more. So it's just been going on for a while. And you just keep hearing them like we just heard a few minutes ago. You know, it's insane how close it is to home and how things are getting.
So scary. Well, this morning we have team coverage of the shooting.
King 5's Michelle Lee live at Harborview, where the officers recovering this morning. We want to begin with Alex Rozier in the neighborhood where all of this happened. Alex?
Yeah, Joyce and Amity, good morning to you. Police remain on scene 12 hours now after the shooting. I want to give you a look behind me. You can see there are several law enforcement vehicles here on the 800 block of North LaVenture Road where this all happened. Now, initially, police responded to a report that someone had been shot. And when they arrived, that is when an officer was shot in the back of the head. While the officer was rushed to Harborview in Seattle, a standoff got underway shortly after midnight. 1 suspect, 2 persons of interest were taken into custody. Now, police say the suspect is a violent offender who is well known to law enforcement. In fact, during the standoff, he fired shots at a SWAT vehicle that was parked outside the home where he was holed up. During this time, people nearby had to evacuate. Several roads were closed off. Skagit Valley College went into lockdown, and neighbors told us about their scary night.
It's very scary, especially with everything that happened in Burlington back in September, I believe it was. It's just something very scary. You never think that it would happen in a small community that this is, and especially in a few houses down from my house.
Police tell us right now they do not know about the suspect's motive. So far, there has been no information released on possible charges. As I mentioned, the initial call was that someone was shot in the neighborhood, and at this point, it appears someone was grazed by a bullet. That person was taken to a local hospital. As we come back out live, though, this morning, just after 5 a.m., now 12 hours later, police remain on scene, but that officer is in Seattle at Harborview Medical Center. For the latest on his condition and what we know about him, I want to send it over to my colleague, Michelle Lee.
Thank you, Alex. So we are learning that that officer has now been upgraded. He is in serious but stable condition. Brought to Harborview overnight, as you mentioned, with a gunshot wound to the head. My colleague John Langler actually shot video with his cell phone the minute that he was brought into the hospital, again in critical condition. He underwent surgery, and we're hearing that positive news that his condition has been upgraded. Now, we don't know his name at this point, but we do understand that might be because not all of his family has been notified. But the officers we spoke with say he is a 30-year veteran who's very committed to the Mount Vernon Police Department. And after his commitment for decades, this is very tough news to hear.
Anytime an officer gets shot, it doesn't matter what badge you wear, what uniform you wear, we all do the same type of job with different protocols, is how I like to put it. And, you know, he's in the hospital now with a gunshot wound. That's the biggest fear of any law enforcement officer out here. If I could be in his place, I would. I know any of us would take that place.
So very tough news to hear. His family is with him, we understand, and several police officers as well. But again, the positive news here, the officer is doing better, upgraded from critical to serious but stable condition. We're live in Seattle. Michelle Lee, King 5 News.
Thank you. That's such great news.
Yeah. Well, other departments are speaking out after the second recent shooting in the state, like Tacoma Police, who said they're hoping for a peaceful outcome where no one else gets hurt.
The Kent Police Department says that they are praying for courage and strength for Mount Vernon. Even Governor Jay Inslee tweeted, "Our thoughts are with the family of the officer, hoping for a safe resolution to this situation soon." If you would like to send your thoughts, many are using the hashtag Skagit shooting.